Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it. Fuse like a magnet, lose won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I'm still the last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes. Picking up all the pieces is a form of art. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I'm still the last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same. Cause that's what it takes.
All right. I still don't see the results posted, but the price is bouncing around. So let's get started. We don't need that last minute of music. Good afternoon, guys. Happy Tuesday, December 9th. Q3 earnings for Gamestop. We got the 1 minute chart here. We're waiting for the results to be posted. I just checked investor relations and the SEC website. I didn't see any updates. Let's check again. Anya, howdy. Active rehab Good afternoon. Jack Max, good afternoon. Is that Jack Wolf? Richie Rich, good afternoon. He says, be interesting to see how Bitcoin affects this quarter. Yeah, I think we've done some rough estimates of how it's going to affect Q2. But really what I want to see is how the hardware and software sales fared versus collectibles, what revenue did, and if profit margins improved. I think that's going to be important going into Q1 that they show continued progress, not slippage. So why Q1? Because I'm concerned about more store closures. So, all right, we got the results. Net sales 821. What did I have forecast here? I didn't share this with you guys, but now you can see it. I had 831. I need to update this to Q3 on the title, sorry. All right. 821 and SG&A 221 compared to 282. That's good, an improvement. Operating income 41 million. Compared to an operating loss of 33 million. So they had an improvement year over year on operating income. Adjusted operating income after excluding impairment and other items, 52 million. Net income, including interest, 77 million. That should be including interest, right? Interest income, 49 million. Yep. All right. I saw some YouTubers predicting 900 million, some 1.3 billion on net sales. 820, seems like a reasonable number in line with what they had previously been, the track record they were on. Let's just pull that up real quick. We had Q3 last year, 860. Q4, 1283. Q1, 732. Q2, 972. Tony Sal. Is that Tony Sal? What's up? The True Myth. Howdy, howdy. Just Incredible Realtor. Good afternoon. 2225 is where we're trading at right now. Compared to some results that I saw that people were expecting, I think this is going to come in a little bit disappointing for some on social media. I don't like myself making just yet. There will come a day. I think it's way too difficult to make reasonable guesses on GameStop's revenue. That's not because I love or hate GameStop. It's just because they are in the midst of a transformation. Do you know how many variables you have to juggle to get this number right? You got to factor in store closures. You got to factor in power packs. You got to factor in the economy. You got to factor in inflation, cutting down people's sales. You got to factor in Switch 2. Ryan's trying to close down stores. That's going to have a negative net impact on revenue. And I really think this becomes important as we go into Q1, the store closure story. We're not going to get distracted on that today, but we're going to talk about it as we finish out this year. Basic net income per share is 17 cents. Diluted income per share, EPS, 13 cents. What else we got here? Current assets, 7.8 million, plus marketable securities of 986. Digital assets, 519. That's the Bitcoin. Total current assets, including inventory, sitting around 9.6 billion. Balance sheet still in great shape. As you guys know, if you're following me, we're not worried about GameStop's balance sheet. There's no solvency or liquidity issues here. You also don't value a company off the balance sheet. That's a big mistake that I see people continuing to make. Wall Street is going to value it off of revenue trends and earning trends. So that's where Ryan is putting his focus. And he's building up this war chest of cash to eventually deploy, hopefully, when he finds the right deal. So consider it your ace in the hole, but don't be betting your whole game on it right now, unless you just like to speculate on future use of cash, which is basically what I'm doing. I am speculating on future use of cash. I do have a long position close to the current price. I did buy this recent dip on Gamestop down into the 20s. I'm green on the play, although I don't know if I will be after after this week. We'll see. Cash flows provided by operating activities, 111 million. Cash flows used in investing activities. So they bought marketable securities. Well, I mean, that's fine. Park some of your cash in treasuries. It looks like I went offline for a minute. Are we back? Are we back? I don't know what is going on with my internet. Hopefully it's not my computer starting to have early dementia. All right, stock is trading at $21.98. Trying to find a little base here. The True Myth says you got to factor in what Uncle Tony says. Yeah, my opinions are not often popular, the True Myth, but they're also not often incorrect. And, you know, if I'm wrong, it's usually we were too conservative and things did better than we thought, which is the way you want to be wrong. You want to be wrong by playing it safe and having things run up fabulously higher than you expected. That's a good surprise. What you don't want is to overcommit and then things don't work out, and all of a sudden you're in the red, scratching your head like, how did this happen? Maybe some bad analysis, maybe some over-optimistic analysis. And then if that happens to you, if you're one of the ones guilty of the over-optimism, then you sit back, you reflect, you be quiet for a few days, and you see what you can do better going forward. All I see is people never doing any self-reflection or correction. It's just like constant, nonstop. You know, every next quarter is going to be the next miracle. They never try and learn. Never. No call today, Lawrence. No. Tony S.A. says, was hoping to go green. Yeah, I hear you. I was, you know, I'd like to see that run back up to the 30s again. I sure would. My cheapest buy that I got in was on 11/21 at $20.20. I had some a little bit higher than that, but yeah, I mean, I'd like to see back up here in the 30s again too. Probably now, unless Ryan has some other news, we're going to have to wait for Q4 or Roaring Kitty to come back, because you know this GameStop's not in trouble, but there's nothing really, unless I missed it, there's nothing like rockets. There's no rockets here. Are y'all seeing anything that I missed? David says tomorrow is the GME Awards. Yeah. What do you think that is going to be, David? What are they talking about, the GME Awards? I saw the tweet and I kind of looked around. I don't know what that's about. I did not see the news, Michael, on ABEO. Yeah. Tony, the other Tony's asking, does anyone have the idea what the GameStop Awards is? I don't know. That is a great question. All right. Should we plug in some numbers here? H, we need to... I'll probably wait and do this. Every quarter I go in and I update the spreadsheet. You know, this goes back years. I've got the other columns hidden off to the left here, but I go in and I update the spreadsheet and see what tweaks I need to make to the predictive formula. Unfortunately, this only helps me predict earnings given a guess on revenue. And that is the freaking impossible thing right now, is how to predict GameStop's revenue. I sure don't know how to do it. I'm not that smart. And I also don't like being wrong, which is why I just don't even try. I'll analyze. You give me some numbers, I'll analyze what the potential outputs could be from the model. We could talk about that all day, but trying to guess this shit is still a little bit tough. I think it'll get easier by middle of next year. Hardware, 44% of total sales. Software, 24%. And collectibles moving up to 31%, $256 million. As hardware and software sales fall, which they did considerably, then it is reasonable to expect that collectibles percentage of sales is going to go up. I really want to see a full quarter with power packs and see how that treats us. I would bet you there were people predicting $1 billion off of power packs. I don't know. I bet there's at least one guy on Super Stunk that was predicting that. Dink says the award for the biggest bag holder. Ouch. Robert says, what if Michael Burry joins the board? I don't think that Michael Burry is, this is my opinion, and you can have a totally different one. I could be totally wrong. I don't think he has any interest in going long GameStop right now. He knows how to value a stock, and he can look at the short interest. And I don't think that he thinks about synthetic shorts. And I think he knows how to properly identify a value play where the market cap is lower than the book value versus a overvalued stock, which has declining revenues. I don't think Michael Burry is dumb. So I would just humbly suggest that he is not going to come out and say anything favorable about GameStop. Ryan Cohen is doing a fine job of throwing all the dead weight money losing stores overboard. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's raised a boatload of cash. You're in a parking lot waiting right now. The business, let's say he closes 50% more of the stores because they're all losing money. All you have left then, yes, it's going to be lower revenue, but you have left a profit generating business every quarter, and you build on that and you wait for some shit to go down where you can deploy $8 billion in cash, and you hope that happens before you got to pay the money back. I mean, it's a pretty decent bet. It's not, is it the safest trade out there? No, I mean, I call it a speculative bet. I like having some of those. That's fine. I prefer the bulk of my portfolio be companies that have a long history of growing revenue and growing earnings. And I wish more of you guys wanted to talk about those, but here we are. We end up spending 90% of our time on 10% of our portfolio. It is more fun. The other ones are boring, man. I mean, you're going to make, what, 20, 50, 70% in a year? Depending on, you know, how good you are at identifying value plays, real value plays, you know, beating down companies that maybe they just had a temporary stumble, but they have a long history of growing revenue. Hazel says, doesn't the CEO of the stock come on and talk to the shareholders? Not in the past year or more, Hazel. And that is one of my chief complaints. And I know the Ryan Cohen, I'm not a Ryan Cohen hater by any stretch. I've even gone in and bookmarked some videos from 2 or 3 years ago for you guys where I was talking about how I like Ryan Cohen. I've never been a Ryan Cohen hater. That is a lie that people often say, though. But I will voice complaints. And my complaint is he's not communicating. And that is one reason why no analyst wants to cover this company anymore. It's really that simple. I know people want to make it into a grand conspiracy that analysts don't want to cover it because they're short. No, I mean, because just like me, how do you guess what's going to happen? There's a huge transition going on. Great. It's doing good things, but you have no guidance from management about what to expect. So how can they do their job? As soon as he starts communicating, and he probably will when the fixing the company is complete, then he'll go back to communicating. Then you'll get some analysts covering the stock again. Just the way things work. It's not a conspiracy. Dink says, do you want Michael Burry? Do you want a gloom and doom short to be on the board? Yeah, Dink, I think people don't really understand that Michael Burry is mostly a contrarian type investor, mostly a short. Now, he did identify the bullish play in GameStop, but how much of a bull was he? He got out way too early back in 2021, and then he said it's overvalued. It ran up too much. So be careful what you wish for, guys. If you're hoping Michael Burry is going to say something good, be careful what you wish for. Anya, yes, the inaugural awards premieres on X and in stores nationwide December 10th at 7:30 p.m. What do you think it's going to be, Anya? Are they going to hand out the top trade-in items that they got? Is it going to be random awards handed out? Big winners and surprises in gaming, Anya says. All right. Thank you. David says, what if RK joins the board? Roaring Kitty. That, David, I think actually would be way more bullish than Michael Burry. I could get behind that. Now, I don't know particularly what connections or experience running a public company as a board member Roaring Kitty has, and it might not even need to have either. You know, typically when they're looking for board members, they're looking for people that have connections to the industry, to politics, to some angle that the company's driving for, and or they're looking for someone with relative experience to the upcoming strategy of the company, like say acquisitions. But just from a pure keeping retail traders involved and pumping the price, I think it would be a very, at least temporarily, bullish move for GameStop. I don't really know beyond that what his value add is. But I'd be for it. It's not like he's going to go over there and do any harm. There's only upside. I mean, do you guys, any bears in here think there's a downside to Roaring Kitty joining the board? I can't see it. I'm not the expert of analyzing boards. I know the basics. There's not any downside in my opinion. So therefore only upside, right? Dink, did you turn in a charger at GameStop for your $5? Hazel says, why is GameStop taking a dive? The revenue was down, Hazel. So Net sales. $821 million versus $860 a year ago. That, I think, people were surprised by that. Look, I know y'all want GameStop to get in the S&P 500. And, I'm not opposed to it getting in the S&P 500 either, but GameStop has to do a lot of things before everybody's focused on the market cap. Even if they had the market cap, even if they had a year's worth of positive earnings, you got to have some other things going on here. The S&P audit board, whoever decides who gets in the S&P 500, I would bet you good money that they don't care about GameStop's balance sheet. They want to see growing revenues and growing earnings. So you're going to hear me continue to beat that drum, because I'm going to tell you what I think is important here. As a trader, as an investor of GameStop, as someone who wants to see the company do well, Ryan has to get it to a point where not only are they operationally profitable, but they stop this continual slide on revenue. If you want to be taken seriously by Wall Street. And in the meantime, I just consider myself, like I said, we're in the parking lot. We're hurry up and wait. Q4 will be much better. What's up, OTF? Yes, I think Q4 will be better. And I mean, look, this isn't the worst thing, right? The company made a profit and they got a sick ass, badass, i.e. good balance sheet. So what can you say? I know what the bears are going to say. Revenues fell. Yeah, I mean, that was a risk. That's why I call it a speculative play. It's still a company in transition. Wait till you see what happens in Q1. Mark this date that I said that. Wait till you see how many stores get closed in January. I think your head might spin. Boy, people got mad when I said that a year ago, but I am saying it again right now, friends. And we were right last year. But you got to do it. What do you got? I mean, you don't have any choice. You got to close non-profitable stores. And GameStop is in the enviable position where they had, I think, 1,600 leases coming up for renewal in 2025. They're in a great position to cut the dead weight. It's a fantastic opportunity to get the company profitable, to right size it, so to speak. So I'm not dinging them for the revenue going down. It's just a function of trying to get to profitability. You got to do what you got to do. Get that annoying headache of losing money on half your stores or whatever, Obviously, it's not half because they had an operating profit, right? Yeah, 41 million. I mean, they're profitable, but we'd like to see them more profitable, right? Cut a few more stores. Make them annoyingly profitable. Let's really get the bears pissed off. And then the net sales won't matter as much. If you can really turn up the earnings. And then put that cash to use, Bob's your uncle. Short-term pain, long-term gain, OTF. You get it. You get it, amigo. Unlike your other favorite stock, OTF, where they have 20-year average leases, GameStop is very nimble, having short-term leases, a year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, what have you, not 20 years. So they can make these quick changes. It's one of the benefits, I guess, of having small retail shops versus custom large footprints. Dink says you really need to look at same store sales and not the total sales number. That is a good point, Dink. Thank you. I'll do a recap and remind me to talk about that. Inventory is down considerably compared to a year ago, but so is the store count. So that is not really, I don't think, very interesting or not a concern. And the company recorded an unrealized loss of $9 million during the 3 months ending November 1st, and an unrealized gain of $19 million during the 9 months ending November 1st. So that was the Bitcoin impact, $9 million negative. Not that bad. There's a little blurb here on warrants. I hear people all the time like trying to factor in $1.5 billion or whatever Gamestop is going to make if they ever sell, all these warrants to people if they get fully exercised. I hear people talking about the warrant potential to the balance sheet as if it's already happened, like it's a for sure thing. I would caution. Be careful listening to people telling you it is a sure thing. By no stretch do I consider the warrants being fully executed a sure thing. It's sure I'd like to see it. Anybody who's telling you every day that you should just count that cash as if it exists right now. I mean, you're kind of living in a rainbow and unicorn world. And I hope you're right, but for those of us that like to do a little more rational, non-cult analysis, we're a long way away from the exercise price. We got to have some really good news. Some really good news. Chris, what's up? He says, you look very serious. Well, I mean, it's not a party day, Chris, but I'm still in the green on my GameStop trade, so I'm fine. Just here to kind of do a live reaction. I didn't have any expectations. I have a good cost basis, and I'm willing to wait it out. We'll see what Q4 brings us now. I'm in no danger of crying over GameStop. Chris says they could also roll the options out to a later date. Yeah, I mean the warrants, they do have that kind of boilerplate language in there that they could extend the warrant date if they wanted to. And I haven't researched a ton how often that happens. I know it has happened that companies have extended warrants depending on market price, what's going on in the markets in general. Let's say there were a market crash in the middle of next year. GameStop might say, oh, there's zero chance that we're going to hit 32. So let's add a year to the warrants. You just never know. So I'm not going to conspiracy this one, Chris, where people think it's a huge hidden secret plan of Ryan Cohen's where he's going to infinitely extend the warrants. It doesn't have any special meaning to me that wording is in there. It exists in many warrant agreements for many companies, but it does give the company optionality, which they could choose to use. So it's good to know that it's there. And Richie, I think that answers your question as well. Yes, they could be extended. The warrants, I'm going to be honest with you. I've been buying warrants, not at $4, but I bought them when they got super cheap there. GMEWS. And the price action on the warrants, as it keeps on pushing up over $4, it's getting a little bit pushed even above fair value compared to what I would look at I was buying warrants in here, 250s-ish. And I did not sell them. I'm just looking for, a little bit of optionality long term, just in case some good shit happens. But I want them as risk-free as possible. So I'm trying to just spread out my buys, not go crazy. I'm not buying 10,000 warrants or anything stupid. It's just, it gives me a little bit of extra exposure. But I recognize they could go to zero too. So just like an option, you gotta treat it like a call option. Be smart on your entry, know your time frame, know your trading plan. I could have sold them for a couple dollars gain, but I was hoping, eternal optimist, I was hoping that Q3 would give us some good news, and that didn't turn out. So now we'll turn our focus to Q4. Chris says he's just saying it's an option if people are freaking out. Yeah, I gotcha. I think I've seen some people on social media spending a ton of money on warrants because they think there's some magic to them. I don't think there's anything magical to them. They're just another way for the company to raise money in a less yucky way than an ATM. If the price runs up, people will exercise by between whenever, depending on how high the price goes. If it goes to 32, 33, I don't expect that many warrants to be exercised. If it were to run to 45, 50, where the time component becomes less of a portion of the price relative to the intrinsic value, you might have more people exercising early. But just treat them like a call option. They're a bonus to you and to the company if the price runs up. There's nothing magic about them. If you like call options, you might consider warrants if you like the 32 strike. Otherwise, I wouldn't mess with it. I'm buying a few here and there. But I will say I recognize that they can go to zero because there's always going to be someone saying, you're buying something that's going to be worthless. Maybe so. That happens sometimes. Fidget Spinner says, what can you pick out of these numbers that are positive then? Positive operating. Let's pull it back up here. Let's look at what they said. Because they're going to lead with the positive stuff. This is not positive, decreasing SG&A 221 compared to 282. So that's a positive. They cut SG&A, but they also cut the number of stores. So what I tell you guys is don't just look at the raw number, look at the number relative to sales. And just eyeballing it here, 821 and 221 versus 860 and 280. It looks like as a percentage of revenue, they did improve SG&A marginally. Operating income, 41 million. That's a positive compared to a loss of 33 million. Indisputably a positive. There's going to be people, the bears, not me, but there will be people, and I acknowledge 41 million off of 820 million isn't super fantastic, but it's better than negative 33. I'll tell you that. You're searching for a positive. Here you go. Positive operating income. And a net income of 77 million. Now, I had someone guarantee me in my comments, Active Rehab, was it you? Someone was guaranteeing me 200 million net income for this quarter. Chris says we still have 3 or 4 quarters to report before earnings are due. What are you talking about for the warrant exercise date, Chris? Q4 is usually the strongest, yes. If Bitcoin keeps climbing, that will help. If we can get power packs rolled out. I mean, they've got all that inventory of the card collectibles. I'm kind of curious what the thought process is there. Massive increase in card inventory. I think I'd prefer to think it's a plan, not a negative, if you know what I mean. I don't want to see inventory dwelling and losing value. I'm hoping that the inventory on the cards is going up because they have a plan. But I don't know. I know there will be people that assume it's only bullish. I try and be balanced on how I look at stuff. I will have an idea and I'll try and be an optimist. There's a plan here. But we haven't really seen what the plan is yet. Let's see Fidget Spinner if they mention Power Pack at all. During the second quarter, the company launched Power Pack. During the second quarter. No, I'm not using that phrase. There's nothing in here giving us any hints. Let's look at collectibles and see if there's any management notes. We know that collectibles income went up by 90 million, 85 million. Not any more hints than that, my friends, that I see. Why is GME price on your screen fixed on the closing price? I don't know, Richie, it has the after price here. I don't know. Can you change it? I don't know how to change it on. Both are here. You got to look at the after right there or up here after. If you know a way to change it on Webull, let me know. It does get annoying. I scare myself sometimes that way. What the heck? $21.90 current price. Chris says, my nephew is big into Magic cards. Have you heard about this game? I have heard of Magic cards. I am not going to portray myself as some expert in trading cards, though. Haven't really collected them since I was in elementary school. Should have kept the damn collection. And so I've talked to card shops. I've talked to online card sellers, here recently in the last year, since GameStop decided to get in this line of business. I'm familiar with Magic cards in terms of knowing they exist, but I'm not the right person to ask any questions about them. Yeah, I think I have seen them, Zachary, in the GameStop store. In fact, if you go in the GameStop store, it's usually like the one card that they have in stock. Pokemon gone. You can find the sports cards from time to time, but it always seems to be Magic cards on the shelf. Anya says some people are Obsessed with it. I remember as a kid riding our bikes down to the local, I don't even know what you would call them. I guess it was a convenience store, but it was more like a mix between a convenience store and a Walgreens at the edge of your neighborhood back in the late 70s, early 80s. Late 70s, more like it. We'd ride our bikes and we'd go buy those packs of trading cards with the stick of hard pink bubble gum in it. And we had boxes full of trading cards back in the day. Don't know whatever happened to those. I wonder if they're in an attic somewhere. I should check with my dad. They were good at keeping stuff like that. But as much as we moved around with him being in the military, no telling. They might have just been lost along the way at some point. All right. Fidget Spinner says Power Packs does look highly addictive. It is. I mean, I think it's a great business model for GameStop to make some money off of Fidget Spinner. But as I look at the odds, it's like what? Just roughly, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, roughly about a 70% chance that you're going to lose money. And so it's people chasing that thrill of getting a higher value chase card. And you got a lot of people that post big wins that feed that addiction. You know, I guess, you know, I'd rather buy GameStop shares than take a chance of losing money on a card pull. That's just me. I mean, you do whatever you like. If you like collecting cards and you like online gambling, then by all means do the Power Packs. It's great for GameStop. But me personally, it's not for me. I'd rather buy shares. That's my gamble. Interstellar, what's up? He says, everybody go check your parents' storage area. There could be millions locked away in boxes. Yeah, Interstellar, if I think of all of the stuff that if we only would have kept it. But we actually like Star Wars toys, the figurines, how Star Wars became popular, or the Dungeon and Dragon original books now with Stranger Things. Those books are selling for hundreds of dollars. All this stuff we used to have. I don't know, my all of our Star Wars stuff was not in the box. Kids, you're not smart enough to keep things in the box. So I guess it doesn't matter anyway. Yo, 9999, when is the AMC meeting? That is going to be mañana por la tarde. I have a live stream scheduled for tomorrow afternoon, so come join us and we'll find out what the vote is. This is a big day for AMC tomorrow. They find out whether investors are willing to give the company access to more capital or say, no more for you, Adam. It's going to be a big day, one way or the other. I don't have any voting instructions for you, and I don't think either are particularly great outcomes, which is why I'm keeping my powder dry for the moment, and we'll see what happens. Richie says, I had baseball cards from gun packs in the mid-1950s. Really? I'm not even aware how long they have been a thing, Richie. Yeah. Yep. We'd play with them till they were broke, Chris. You got it. And we would put cards in the bike spokes too, Anya, also, but typically playing cards. Yeah, I remember doing that. Robert, what's up? He says, ojalá que AMC sea mejor que GME share price action. It's hard to say, Robert. AMC has AMC has a troubled balance sheet. GameStop has a solid balance sheet. So it's very tough for AMC to have a better price action. We need bigger box office. Man, and speaking of box office and Paramount and Netflix and Warner Brothers, you guys want to see some funny stuff. Trump derangement syndrome has entered the chat. Go look at my X post. I'm not a fan of Netflix just because I like movies, and Netflix has not shown any history of supporting theatrical release. I don't own AMC. I do own some other theater stocks, but I like movies on the big screen. And so therefore I'm not in favor of Netflix buying Warner Brothers. If it's going to be for sale, I'd rather Paramount buy it. But boy, I made one comment and all of a sudden I got all the people on X accusing me of being a bot. Oh, look, the Paramount bots are here. This Tony Denaro guy. I've been called a retard several times. I've been called a hack working for Israel. Apparently I'm working for Paramount now. What else? What else have they said? Oh, I'm self-loathing because I don't want Netflix to buy Warner Brothers. It is just hilarious. It cracks me up. You guys know I don't let social media nonsense get to me. I just laugh at it. But it's funny how all these people with 100 or 200 followers all of a sudden have an opinion. They've never once talked about theater, film, the industry, Warner Brothers, Netflix, or Paramount. Never once in their life talked about it. But now they have an opinion about who should buy Warner Brothers. It is quite funny. And the opinion has nothing to do with the industry. It's just politics. Politics has entered the chat of Netflix and Paramount's fight over Warner Brothers. It is quite amusing. I generally don't answer back to those kind of comments, just laugh at them and go on about my day. I probably should engage with them if I really wanted to get my X engagement up, but I don't enjoy arguing with people who are coming from a place of emotion. Brown Mamba Dulce, he says, what price do you suggest we buy? What stock are we talking about? Mamba. Zach says, yes vote keeps AMC open, and a no vote is almost directly pushing AMC into bankruptcy court. Zachary, I actually agree with you. If I was AMC and shareholders voted no, I'd probably file Chapter 11. Because you're just stuck with years of what? Never being able to pay off the debt because you have no shares. Box office, you need it to be what, over 12 billion to even have a chance to pay off a little bit of debt, but then you still have maturities coming up in 2029. Like, if they don't have access to capital, they may as well just fold it up, do a out of court restructuring, maybe kind of like a Beyond Meat type deal where you sit down with the lenders and say, look, we need to restructure this thing. Here, you guys take the company. We're going to collapse the capital structure. You'll own it. Retail will get wiped out. I hope it doesn't come to that. But if there's a no vote, I don't think it's not going to go well for the stock price. Czar Sabson says, what is purchase of marketable securities? GameStop typically buys short-term treasuries. I forget what the definition of cash equivalent is, but I think it is a marketable security with a maturity of less than 12 months, like 3, 6, 9. So that will show up in cash and cash equivalents. Let's just look instead of me. Marketable. They tell us. I should just read it again instead of going by memory. Investments, it says, with a maturity greater than 90 days and less than 1 year are classified as marketable securities on their balance sheet. So there you go. Greater than 90 days and less than 1 year. Interstellar Ape says you need to search some of the comment sentences. It is coming up. That's a good idea. I haven't done that. A couple of them, like 2 of them, I looked and I said, has this person ever had an opinion on the movie industry? And I look at their history and no. It's either I hate Trump or I hate Israel. That's all of their posts. So I know why they don't like my opinion. Because apparently, I don't even know this, but apparently Paramount and Ellison are they're pro-Trump or pro-Israel something. I don't know. I'm not looking at this damn Warner Brothers thing from the angle of politics. I just simply don't want Netflix ruining the movie industry. Really that simple. And they have a long history of proving that's what they would do. I do not care what they say now, friends. Fidget Spinner says 141,000 raised from warrants so far. Really? I saw someone posted on Superstonk that he exercised 15 warrants. Like, why? What are you guys doing exercising your warrants? This says net income 42 million. You're saying how much? 141,000 cash flow. That's not income. 42 million was distributed to the holders of convertible notes. Okay, and recognized as an interest expense. Gotcha. During the 3 months, here we go. During the 3 months ending November 1st, holders exercised 4,422 warrants, resulting in proceeds of 141,000. Yeah, that's not shorts covering. That's just people being dum-dums. I heard I was reading the Superstonk post and the guy said, what's the problem? So I exercised my warrants. I think the stock's going over $32. So why does it matter if I exercise now or 6 months from now or a year from now? Why does it matter? Because you gave up the time value. That's why it matters. You could have just sold the warrants, collected the immediate time value, and then bought your 15 shares. Like, why are you exercising and giving up the time value? It does not make sense. You want the shares? Sell the warrants and go buy the shares. You want to help the company? Okay. They thank you for your $10 per share donation. You're just donating. I'm not going to ever advocate that you guys donate money to a company that has 8-9 billion on the balance sheet. They don't need your money that bad. Be smart with your money. But there are people that are doing it for bragging rights. I don't get it. You know, those aren't my followers. 10% of warrants raised. There were 59 million warrants, and this was 4,000 warrants. So we haven't even scratched the surface. It's a fraction of 1%. Anyhow, All right, let's see what the stock's trading at, and then we're going to wrap this up because I got to go chat with the wife a little bit before she goes to work. Maybe we'll come back and do an evening live stream tonight. If you don't see me later tonight, I will be here live tomorrow afternoon for the AMC shareholder meeting, which should be brief. It should be brief, but I'm more interested in what is the outcome and what is the aftermath in terms of share price. Brown Mamba says GameStop is $21.75. Would this be a good entry point? Let's just zoom out a little bit. I've been buying in this range, Brown Mamba. I have the demand zone marked. I moved it. I had it up here, and I moved it after this drop. So any purchases I do now, I'd like to be under $20, but or at least closer down here. 20 and a half, 20 to 20 and a half. These are my recent buys here, 2020, 2034, 2065. I'm not buying up here. No, not me. But, I'm an asshole about that. I want a cheap entry. I'm not a buy every day at any price guy. That's why the cult channels hate me. On any ticker. Not just GameStop, on any ticker. I will wait as long as it takes to get a good entry. And if I miss it, oh well. If there's a momentum run, Roaring Kitty comes back, I got dry powder. I can jump in at any moment. There's never any pressure or I just don't feel like I got to buy it every day. I can learn to be smart, be patient. If it starts taking off above one of these supply zones or Roaring Kitty comes back, you bet your bottom dollar I'll probably be buying a little bit of extra bullish momentum, even if it's just adding some call options to the mix. Maybe adding a few more shares. I don't really care what price I buy at on a real momentum move. But when it's just kind of hanging out, we're just hanging out for the last year, I'm going to be very critical of my entries, very patient. Zachary says the numbers website is down. I haven't checked it, Zachary, but I will. I did update my spreadsheet for AMC box office with this past weekend's numbers. Maybe we can talk about that tomorrow. I want to keep today focused on GameStop. Last question, Brown Mamba says, would you suggest doing covered calls on GME? It feels like it stays within 20 to 30 range. I do covered calls on a lot of tickers. I can't remember if I've done them on GameStop. I've for sure done them in 2024 on AMC and many other tickers in my portfolio. It's really a difficult question when you ask that, do you recommend doing covered calls? It's a loaded question because I don't know you. I don't know your risk tolerance. I don't know your portfolio makeup. I don't know your cost basis. I don't want to know any of that stuff either. But I can tell you that all of those answers, also I don't know your experience level with running the wheel strategy or selling covered calls. That being said, we love the wheel strategy in general, and we love it even more on high volatility plays. So you got to have a really good feel for the stock, first of all. What's your cost basis? Ideally, you're only selling covered calls if the strike price is above your cost basis and you're willing to lose your shares at that price. If you told me your cost basis was $20 and you're trying to sell covered calls at 26, 27, you don't think it's going to go over this in the next week. You'd have to then tell me, but if it goes over 27, I'm okay exiting at 27. As long as you can live with that, then sell the covered calls. Also, you need to check the IV and make sure they're worth it. Like I don't want to sell a covered call for jack shit on premium. Like, I don't want to risk losing my shares for a crappy premium. So that's something else to look at. I mean, there's times where I own a ticker and it's just not worth the risk to sell a covered call, because what if the damn thing shoots up? I don't want to lose my shares for a couple pennies. It becomes a much more interesting game of cat and mouse when the thing is moving up and the volatility really goes through the roof. Then you try and guess, okay, well, it's at 33. People think it's going to 50. I'm going to sell a covered call at 35, 36. It becomes a much more interesting game. Maybe not so much right now. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, you could sell covered calls in this range, but this is not a high volatility range right now. And so you're risking all your shares for maybe a suboptimal trade. And we've talked about on this channel and in Discord, especially in Discord, people ask, well, all right, I'm doing covered calls on X, Y, and Z ticker, but what if it does run up? You better already know the ways to get out of that if it does run up. You could just say, I'm good. I'll let my shares go at my strike price. That was what I agreed to when I sold them. Or you could say, as soon as I even see a hint that it's going to run up, I'm going to buy some call options. So if I do lose my shares, I've got an equal amount of calls that I could sell for a profit and not miss the run up. Or you could learn how to roll your call options. And if that makes sense financially and mathematically, that is another way. There's multiple ways out of it. You don't have to just lose your shares, but you need to kind of understand all this stuff before you're mucking around with selling covered calls. All right, ladies and gents, we will see you maybe later tonight if I feel like there's something worth talking about. I'm going to go read through the 10Q in a little more detail. It's kind of difficult to do intelligently while we're live streaming, but I'm going to sit down and read the GameStop 10Q and see if we got any interesting tidbits. And then maybe I'll just do a wrap-up video. Maybe I'll do a live stream later tonight. We'll see. If you don't see me tonight, like I said, I'll be live tomorrow afternoon for the AMC meeting. Thank you, everyone. Anya, thank you. Brown Mamba, good questions. Fidget Spinner, Zachary, Arnold Schwarzenegger. All of you, thank you. Have a good night. Have a good afternoon.
We've been waiting for so long. Hedges rain will soon be gone. A green candle up, a red candle down. By the dip, gotta hold our ground. Hedges games are dead and gone. Fuck the shorts, we're going long. If you doubt it, sit and stare. If you love it, buy a share. A green candle up, a red candle down. By the dip, gotta hold our ground. We've been waiting for so long. Hedges rain will soon be gone. A green candle up, a red candle down. By the dip, gotta hold our ground.